My New York Knicks family, what's popping? What is popping with you? Happy Thanksgiving or happy day after Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, whatever you want to call it, or happy leftover day. But anyway, happy whatever to you. I'm glad that you're joining me today, this afternoon. Tonight, the Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're going to talk about that game. We're going to see, can the Knicks snap this 4-game losing streak and get themselves out of the danger zone? I'm not sure. I don't know. But we're going to talk about it and see if it's something, if there's even a possibility. And I know a lot of you guys are spending time with family, enjoying time with family. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing. I'm happy that I can be on with you and spend a little bit of time with you. Not going to be on too long because I got family to spend time with as well. But I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to at least preview the Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'll give you a chance to call in. The number is 516-405-2246. You also get a chance to video in. If you have never videoed in, this might be the perfect time because there may not be that many people that video in. Whereby.com/NBK. You can video in and talk to us, ladies and gentlemen. We got a chat building up right now. Guillermo just joined us. Hopefully he had a happy Thanksgiving. I do want to ask you what you think about Fizdale's comments about trust. Apparently, Coach Fizdale, after the Knicks lost to the Toronto Raptors, held a long meeting in the locker room. And in that meeting, he screamed on the players about trust, that they've got to learn how to trust each other on the defensive end and on the offensive side of the floor, which I agree with. I agree with them. They do. That's how you get better as a team. You got to learn how to trust each other. But it is hard to trust somebody when they continuously break your trust. Right? It's hard to trust somebody. They continuously break your trust. If Julius Randle continuously misses a rotation, then it's hard for you to trust that Julius Randle is going to make that rotation. If Kevin Knox continuously lets his man go baseline, then it's hard for Mitchell Robinson to say, well, you know what? I'm going to kind of stick to my guy because I know he can knock down this mid-range jump shot because I know Kevin Knox has him. Kevin Knox ain't going to let him go baseline. Kevin Knox is going to keep his man in front of him. It's hard for Mitch to say that because he knows what Mitch has been doing. So it's very hard, and this is coming from someone who was a basketball player. It's very hard to trust teammates if they continuously disappoint you when you're trying to trust them. Although you do have to trust them. This is where it becomes sticky. And even as a coach, it becomes sticky. Because especially, we press a lot. For those who don't know, those who are just joining me, all right, I'm a head coach of an AAU basketball team, and I'm an assistant coach. I don't know what I really am because I kind of do head coach a little bit and I do assistant coach a little bit for the varsity team that I coach, because the head coach is also the athletic director. So, sometimes he's called to do certain things and I've got to take over the coaching duties. Whatever you want to call it, I coach there too, right? And I usually, I do a lot with the offense and the defense, but I do a lot of organizing in the defense. And we do a lot of pressure on both of my teams. I do a lot of pressure. And one of the things that I'm constantly preaching to my players is you got to trust that your teammate is going to make the right rotation. Because if you don't trust that your teammate's going to make the right rotation, then you're probably going to miss your rotation. And then I'm going to look at you and say, why did you miss your rotation? And I'm not going to accept that you we're trying to cover for somebody else if you miss your rotation. Now, I might look at it on the tape and say, man, she was trying to cover for this person or trying to help that person. But I'm not going to accept that from you because I want you to be responsible for for the mistake that you made. And if everyone's not making their rotations, then your defense isn't going to work. So everyone's got to make their rotations and trust that somebody else is making their correct rotation. And if somebody consistently misses their rotation, it's hard to trust. And so it can become something that's divisive. Because I tell my players, you make your rotation. If this player doesn't make their rotation, that's their responsibility. Let them be responsible for it. So you preach team, but you also preach a little bit of divisiveness because you want everybody to manage their rotations. But it is imperative that people manage and handle their responsibilities within a team concept. So trust is important. Trust is important, but it's hard to trust if somebody's not handling their duties. And Nate the Great just joined us, ladies and gentlemen. So we got Guillermo, we got Nate. I want to talk about this trust issue with Coach Fizdale. And as soon as I find the interview, I'm going to bring it up. I didn't want to be too late, so I didn't have time to look up the interview, but I'm going to get the interview as they're talking, and then we're going to listen to Coach Fizdale talk about trust. But in the meantime, I want to say what's up to Nate, say what's up to Guillermo. Hey, Guillermo, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
Good, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you in the chat, man. Everything's good, man, but let's get on this Fizdale thing, man. You know what Fizdale's doing? Like I said the other stream, man, when you come back from work, from your job, you hate your boss, so you can't say anything to him or her, and you come back, you take it back out on the people who deserve it. Sim, the only way that this thing makes sense is if on every switch, on every, say, pick and roll defense, right, our guys are so over aggressive that we're leaving the guy who's picking to the basket to get the ball from the pass out of the double team and execute and finish. You know that's BS, man, because like you can't say, oh, trust is if it's like, all right, I'm a pass off, Randall, I'm a pass off Portis, I'm a pass off whoever to guard the guy that's up front, and I'm gonna take his man. We're gonna switch. We're gonna have that trust that I trust this player to be able to cover this guy for however many seconds are left on the clock. That's the only time that this applies to. But the thing I'm seeing what I'm seeing with this guy Fizdale, he's scared to address the true issues. It's not about trust, because if you're saying that it's about trust, then you're blaming all the guys who actually work hard on the pick and roll defense, the Frank Ntilikina's, the Taj Gibsons, the RJ Barretts, and that doesn't make any sense. The Dotsons, that doesn't make any sense. He's scared to come at the guys like Randall. He's scared to admonish those guys because of the big ticket guys, or they're the guys who the club is anointed as the so-called saviors, or the big ticket guys, whatever you want to call it. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to basically, be a punk to the real issues at hand. And that's saying, hey, Randall, you need to get on your man, blah, blah, blah. Because like I said, Sim, this is going to blow up, because when you're saying, I got to trust my man, the guys who are working hard on defense, the guys who are communicating, they're looking at it like, wait, what the hell? I'm doing everything right, and it's him who's effing up, and he still gets a pass because he's getting so-called preferential treatment from the coach. So, again, Fizdale, used car salesman, but he's really playing on a really thin line, because like what happened last year, you sat down Frank when Frank was not being aggressive on offense, but he was the only guy playing defense. But you didn't sit down Trier, you didn't sit down Tim Hardaway, you didn't sit down a whole bunch of guys. Now you're doing it this year with guys like RJ Barrett, who I think has a little bit more of a backbone than Frank. And there's not anything bad. I just think that Frank is a little more resolved and reserved. Oh, excuse me, reserved. Did I say resolved? Reserve. And you're doing this against guys now who are going to talk up, because they're looking at like, yo, Randall's not coming. Like, we're losing games on defensive end because guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, not because of trust. So what he said is hogwash. Is crap. Is BS, man. You know it too, Sim. That's why you signed.
I can't say it's totally BS, because you do have to trust your teammates to play defense.
Okay, so who? Okay,
right?
Okay,
you
Sim,
do have to trust your teammates to play defense, right?
Okay, Sim, can I ask you this question then? Since you're saying that, where is it that you see in this Knicks team where the lack of trust on defense is hurting us defensively?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I mean, listen. You have to trust. You've got to have trust on defense. It's kind of twofold, right? It's a catch-22 situation. You got to have trust. You got to trust your teammates, but also it's hard to trust your teammates if they're not upholding their responsibilities, right? You know what I'm saying? So you might see Frank Ntilikina trying to switch off on 2 or 3 different people because he doesn't trust his teammates, or Mitchell Robinson trying to cover for somebody because he doesn't trust his teammates, which in turn is going to get Frank or Mitchell Robinson in defensive foul trouble. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying
but
that
Sim,
all
the
of
only
Mitchell Robinson's foul troubles are because he doesn't trust his teammates. Obviously, he makes some dumb fouls, right?
Sim, that doesn't make sense though. The only way that
But hold
happens
up,
is if
wait a minute. But then what
I'm sorry.
happens though? What happens and what can happen? What can happen is that those who don't play defense, they start to rely on those other guys, and so they never step up, right? Now, what Coach Fizdale has to do is tell these guys, don't cover for them. Let them make their own mistakes. If they don't get it, if they don't make their rotation, I'm gonna get on them. Right? Now, the thing is they gotta trust Coach Fizdale to do that as well. So far, certain players he hasn't done it with, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But I do get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Now, he's also talking about trust on the offensive side of the floor. And what I don't like about this is that he's not talking about players specifically, like you're saying. He's not mentioning players specifically. He's saying it as a team as a whole, and that's a cop-out because there's really only two players that play a selfish style of basketball on the offensive side. That's Julius Randle and Marcus Morris. And he's not calling them out by name. He's saying we as a team have to trust each other, which is true. We got to trust each other. But it's really those two players that have to trust everybody else. Right? Because he's talking about it on both ends of the floor.
That doesn't make sense. The only way that
on the offensive side, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense on the offensive side.
To one of your original statements in regards to not trusting, it only makes sense if the other guy is also being aggressive, and two guys are being so aggressive on defense that is messing it up for the other guy. Okay, put it like this.
I disagree
Go back to the
with that.
the Celtics game, the opening night game, right?
So maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying then. Maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a basic concept of defense is that you've got to trust your teammates. But if somebody's not doing their job, you can't trust them.
Right, and that's the whole point, Sim. That's why I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
What he's saying doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. He's scared to address the real issue, which is that the other guys, the Julius Randles, they aren't playing well on defense. They're not coming up on pick and rolls in terms of defense. They're not coming up playing them in. So that forces a guy like Frank Ntilikina to just say, or whoever want to say F it, and then come around on the screen, overplay that, and maybe the other guy sags off. He cuts to the basket. Julius Randle maybe commits too late, and now you have an open guy finish at the basket. So I don't.
That's what I know that, but what I'm saying is I said this. I was saying the same exact thing as you. I was saying the same exact thing, but also what he could be saying though is telling Frank Ntilikina, and who knows if he told him, telling Frank Ntilikina, do your job, trust that they're going to do their job. And if they don't do, you got to listen to what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying. Just listen.
All right,
what he could be saying to him is just the same way I tell my players, right? Even if somebody is always missing their rotation, I tell them, handle your rotation. Trust that they're making their rotation. If they're not, I will deal with it. Right? And it's the catch-22 for the player because it's hard to trust those guys if they're not doing their job. But you still have to do your job.
Right.
Do what
I agree.
I'm asking you to do.
All I'm saying is that I agree with you 1,000%. Maybe when you're wearing, I listen. So I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. But what I'm saying is that all that says to me is that Fizdale is scared to address the elephant.
I agree.
That's it, man. Like, why
it's the same way on the offensive side.
If you're a player who's doing you're doing the right thing on defense all the time, and this coach is still finding ways. Put it like this, right? If you're saying you were Frank playing last year, right? You get admonished for not playing offensively aggressive last year, right? You're still playing good defense. You come in this year, you're still playing good enough defense that it affects the games. Now, are we winning games like that? No, but in the games that we won, his defense stood out, right? And then now you coming down, and you're still indirectly being blamed for not so-called having trust. That stuff is gonna blow up because at one point you're not gonna take out on the coach, or you're gonna take out the guy who's not doing the right thing. You're gonna be like, yo, dude, are you serious? What am I supposed to trust? Trust that when Kemba Walker comes around the pick and roll, that when he wants to shoot that shot after the pick, I'm gonna trust that Julius Randle is gonna defend that, even though we saw in the first game Kemba Walker killed us in the second half because of that. It's like, Sim, it's all gonna bog down to people being like, yo, Fizdale. You know what? That's the stuff that might lead to players creating a mutiny, because it's gonna be like, look, you're blaming me for stuff. You're not even a good coach offensively, or like all this stuff about you being a good coach. It ain't coming to fruition. You're blaming the wrong players. It's like you don't, and you're scared to address the real players, and you want to buddy with. Like, nah, dude, get out of here with that crap. If I was a player on that team, I would address the room and I'll say, Fizdale, you coming at the wrong players. Get out of here with that crap, son. Because I'm
Now,
coming around, I'm
well,
playing right on defense. I'm doing everything. I'm communicating, and it's the other guys who are slagging off not playing. So I'm just saying that's the type of stuff that can make stuff blow up. When you start blaming other players who are doing the right things because you're scared to address the so-called free agents that you love or cherish or value more, that stuff's gonna blow up in your face, man.
no, I agree with you, and this is that's where it's on Fizdale. If he's going to tell his players that he has to trust everyone, that they have to trust that everyone is going to do their jobs, then he has to make sure he holds those players accountable. That's the only way that it works. The only way that it works. He has to make sure he holds those guys accountable. And it's the same way on the offensive side. He's saying the same thing on the offensive side, that guys got to trust. But there's really only two players. Julius Randle, Marcus Morris. And I'm going to say more Marcus Morris than Julius Randle. That you got to preach to them that they've got to trust their teammates.
You say, wait, hold on. You said you got to do it more than Morris than Randle?
I would say it's more Morris than Randle that you have to preach. You got to trust your teammates.
I want to agree with you. I want to agree and disagree with you. I know you got to go to other people. I agree with you in this sense because Marcus Morris, the team, I think that because he has a cachet of being a free agent who played, or a guy coming to play who played on the Celtics, playing a playoff level team, I think that people would follow and listen to him more. And you've seen it. When he's going off offensively, it's like the team galvanizes around him. So I agree with you in that sense that if he does it, the other guys will start to follow, right? Because there's cachet, there's some credibility to him, right? But on a different way, I disagree because they know that he's going to be gone. So they know that he's not a building block for this team. His team's not going to playoffs, so he's going to be traded. And Randle still has, at the very least, one more year after this year before, I know it's a 2-year with an extra option, whatever. So if you could get Julius Randle to do it, that means that everybody is buying in, that even the least likely player to be adequate on defense, even he's buying into the system. So if he's buying into the system, there's no excuse for me not to buy in the system. So I agree with you and I disagree with you, but I think
I'm talking. I
switched
to offense, though. I switched to offense.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad.
I'm sorry. I too much cranberry sauce, man. I switched
more about
to
defense to the two players. My bad. I didn't hear the offense. I just thought you said my bad.
No, so what I was saying is he was talking about it on the offensive side as well, saying that players got to trust each other on the offensive side. But instead of saying the two guys, again, he just said, he's just
Morris
like
is,
the
but
team has to.
how can you take that away from Morris though? Because Morris is actually scoring, and I'm not saying he's great, but I think from three he's like top
from
10
three. He's 51% from three. He's about 40% of overall. Right?
So, and it's tweaky stuff. Like you tell Morris, hey, you don't need a chuck when you're not playing well. If you look, there's times when Morris, for some reason, he feels it and he can hit those shots. I'm not taking him. I'm feeding him the ball until he goes cold. I would say that more to Randle because Randle is doing things that are more uncharacteristic of him. Plus, it's ineffective. Now, Morris, when he was with the Celtics, he was hitting threes, but I don't think it's at this clip. He wasn't this offensive type of player, but it's working. So it's like the only bad shot to take is if it doesn't go in. Randle, on the other hand, is getting turnovers in big spots. I don't know.
I get that, but I feel like Marcus Morris is the one who. Randle is more willing to pass than Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris barely passes the ball.
Yes. But Sim, look at this offense. Barely passes the ball. I see this thing about Fizdale. Fizdale can't get mad at the own products and fruitions of his offense. His offense dictates ISO. So it's like, all right, so when Morris gets the ball and it's 10 seconds left on the clock and no one is moving, what do you want him to do? Dribble it back out and pass it to the perimeter and play hot potato until 3 seconds left on the three? Like Fizdale is getting mad, but it's like you're creating this stuff. Now, if there was more off-ball movement and Morris was getting the ball and guys are moving around and Morris is just holding the ball and it's 15 seconds left, he's trying to ISO, that's one thing. But when you look at when to look at all the bad shots Morris is taking in with like 10 seconds left on the clock, how can I get mad at him when literally the play dictates for him to literally take his man ISO one-on-one where he is, dribble, stop and pop, and the post, that little post up, little fadeaway crap he does sometimes. How can I get mad at if my offense dictates that to him? It's one thing if I was playing a Golden State Warriors offense and it's Kevin Durant
I understand
holding the ball. Like, bro, that's the offense.
I get that.
Like,
I understand that. But there are times, like, for example, we're talking about, we're getting ready to go into this Philadelphia game, right?
Uh-huh.
The last game versus Philadelphia, Marcus Morris hijacked the offense at the end. He went ham. Started wilding out. Just taking wild shots. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, I was like, come on, man, what are you doing? And you had a chance to be in. I don't know if it's because of his family from Philadelphia. He's played in Philadelphia plenty of times. I like Marcus Morris, right? But there are times when I feel like I do see him hold the ball for a long time. And I'm like, come on, man, get the ball out your hands. Julius Randle, too. Now, neither one of the guys are shooting a ton of shots, right? I think Julius Randle, 16.7. Marcus Morris, about 14 or 15 shots per game. It's the times, it's the moment of the game that they choose to decide to go selfish. You know what I mean? Let me get to Nate. Nate?
Hey, man.
What's going on, man? Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Hope you had a good one.
Great one. Had a great one.
I didn't listen to the interview, so just kind of give me a quick synopsis. He just talked about trust, like basically blaming the players about lack of trust.
Well, basically, he held a 15, 16-minute meeting at the end of the Toronto game and talked about trust, that they've got to trust each other on the offensive and defensive side of the floor. And actually, I can't find the exact interview. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, no,
can't find
that's
the exact
fine.
interview, but basically, I read the article and he talked about trust. But go ahead.
That's kind of what I perceived it to be. So let me say this. Remember when I told you about Fizdale, how he's too honest sometimes? He needs to shut his mouth. This is a case in point right here. Listen, you're the head coach of a sinking ship. You need to put all the onus on yourself, not the players, because these are all young players. They're all fragile. Nobody knows what the player's state of mind is right now. They feel like their coach might be fired. They don't know if they're going to be traded. They don't know if they're going to be gone. There's too much fragileness in this team. And for Fizdale to put more pressure on by saying the players are the ones that they're not trusting each other, that's bullshit, in my opinion.
Well, let's take a minute. I'm going to come right back to you, Nate. Let's take a minute and let's listen to Coach Fizdale as he talks about player trust. Basically, this is his interview from the last game after the Knicks played and got smacked by the Toronto Raptors. This is Coach Fizdale talking about the game. And before I get to that, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, or post to my community section. And I do want to take a moment. I see somebody explaining to maybe someone who's new to the channel why we say, yo, black, it's time. And why you see that in the YouTube chat. Well, here's what it is. When I first started doing the channel, it wasn't live. It was pre-recorded. And when I would start the episode up, I would always have Nas's New York State of Mind instrumental playing in the background. Right? And if you know that song, you know there is a point in the song where Nas says, hey, yo, black, it's time. Right in the beginning of the song. And my man Tony Crow, he used to be the first person to comment in each video. And in every video, he would say, yo, black, it's time. So it's kind of become a slogan for the show when we start up, yo, black, it's time. Right? Because of copyright issues, I no longer use the New York State of Mind instrumental. I would love to still use the instrumental, but I no longer use it. But that's the reason why Yo Black It's Time is a saying that's part of NBK, and it will always be part of NBK. There's actually shirts on my website where you can purchase a shirt that says Yo Black It's Time. But anyway, I just wanted to give a quick history for those who might be new to the channel. And if you are new and you enjoy what you're seeing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You know, because it's all about having that New York state of mind, man. It's nothing but Knicks. We in the building. But let's listen to Coach David Fizdale as he talks about the last game versus Toronto and trust and all kinds of stuff. Let's get it.
Coach, team got off to a great start tonight, right? And then in the second quarter, Toronto able to flip the script. They pushed the ball in transition there. But what else did you see?
I saw a championship ball club, and our team just ran up against a buzzsaw. That team understands how to shift the game in their favor when things aren't going right. You know, you don't accomplish what they accomplish if you don't understand how to play 48 minutes.
This team, the Toronto team, doesn't take a single possession off defensively. Does that wear on a team physically as much as it does mentally?
Yeah, especially when you got that kind of length and speed and athleticism and understanding of what, you know, you're doing. They are a fantastic defensive team. Nick deserves a lot of credit for what they've done. But, you know, it's the same selflessness on the other end. You know, they run the floor hard for each other. They cut hard for each other. They move the ball selflessly. So we can learn a lot from this team, and that's, you know, we lost to a better team tonight.
And with Siakam, they obviously needed someone to step up in the wake of Leonard. I mean, he's done a fantastic job of that. What makes him a special player?
Relentless attack, relentless effort. His conditioning level is second to none. He's improved every single year in the NBA. I'm just so impressed with him.
So what do you tell the team after something like this? What's your message to them?
The message to the team is trust. Right now, we're still fighting that fight to trust each other offensively and defensively. First half, you saw the ball moved in that first quarter without hesitation. We get to the second quarter, guys were holding the ball too long. And they just got to trust the easy play and trust the pass. And same thing defensively. You know, if you get beat, you have to trust that you know that this guy's going to be there for you to protect you, and the next guy is going to protect the next guy. And that's just something we haven't done consistently throughout a full game. And we're just we're fighting for that, where we got trust for 48 minutes.
What, I mean, you decided to go with Trey in the fourth quarter, put up some numbers, but does that help his cause in the future?
Well, you always, any opportunity you get, especially in a blowout game like that, that's an opportunity for him to find rhythm. You know, for a guy like Iggy to get out there and be able to play in front of his hometown. You know, those minutes were good minutes for Dot and Kevin to get out there. So, you know, there's no perfect formula for that stuff, but if you get an opportunity to give a guy a chance to find some rhythm and play some ball, then you take it.
Because when you talk about these things that they aren't doing right now, the trust and everything, it doesn't get easier. I know you guys have Sixers, Boston, Milwaukee coming up.
Bring it on.
Is it something that can change that quickly? Or?
Well, I mean, it goes in waves. We played the Sixers to a 5-point game in Philly and was up 17. So we had a lot of trust in that game. But it was a pocket in the game where we didn't take care of business. But we had more minutes than not in that game that we showed trust. Boston at Boston, we lose on the buzzer. So it's capable, and what we just got to understand is it has to be an everyday thing, an every game thing for 48 minutes.
He didn't shoot the ball that well tonight. Was it just a case of like him kind of maybe pressing a little?
No. You got to give their defense credit. Those guys really get after it. They're long. They make everything tough. I loved how aggressive he was. He made some plays for us off the dribble. He competed extremely hard, but that's not an easy team to just come in and drop numbers on. And so, you know, give their team some credit.
You mentioned before the game about what Toronto, the young team learns in the championship. Did your team learn from watching how hard they play every play?
Let's hope. We'll see as we move forward here, but that's definitely a team that you want to learn a lot from, because when it comes to effort and energy, that team is one of the hardest playing teams and one of the most selfless teams in the league.
Now, it's easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's very easy for him to say that the team played with trust when you're in a close game and you win by 17 and all that kind of stuff, or you have a 17-point lead at some point in the game. It's easy to say that they played with trust for most of the game, and then there are pockets where they weren't and stuff like that. I mean, you could say that. right? I mean, their game. I mean, if you have a team that's consistently playing with trust, they might still lose by 30. Doesn't mean that they don't trust each other. You know, it's going to happen like that from time to time. You know, on the defensive side of the ball, he was talking about, you know, guys trusting that someone else is going to have the rotate. You know, is going to make the rotation. I get that. Right, that someone's gonna back them up if they get beat off the dribble and this and that and this and that. In the same vein, you gotta trust that your man is gonna make the right rotation, or you gotta trust that Frank Ntilikina is gonna be able to stay in front of his man. Now, obviously, it's not gonna happen all the time, but you gotta trust that those guys can do it, so you can do your job. I don't know. I don't know how to call it. We'll see, man, what these guys can do. Hopefully, they can bring that trust into this game against Philadelphia. We're gonna break down this game. Shortly, I want to hear from Nate, and then I'm going to talk to Rob the Nick. All right, and we're going to break down this game and see if these guys can have this so-called trust so that they can snap this 4-game losing streak. And I'm telling you now, it's not going to be easy, even though Philadelphia has had some guys out. Josh Richardson, Al Horford, they're not playing tonight. It's not going to be easy to defeat this team. Obviously, they're a championship caliber team. But we got to get off the snide, ladies and gentlemen. Got to get off the snide. Nate, go ahead, man. Hold up, one second, Nate. 1 second. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, man, just listen to that interview right there. A couple of things that really struck me. First and foremost, you can't throw the word trust out there. That's not a word you want to throw out when coaching, because even if you're trying to say something else, people are going to perceive it as different. So I don't like how he used that word, because it demeans the players in a sense that they don't trust each other. They're not on the same page, and that's the last thing you want to hear with a team that is young, that, you know, is supposed to be better than what they are, and they're not, because that falls on the coaching too.
I don't know if he meant that.
Well, but it could be
we're talking trust on the basketball court. And, you know, of course, he's talking about pockets of, I mean, you're going to hear this from every coach, you know, telling players that they've got to trust each other on the court. You know what I'm saying? Because you do. You do. And it's hard to trust someone if they're not doing their job, but you do.
No, but that's very true. But I also didn't hear from him, like, put it on me. You know, I didn't hear him say that I got to do a better job with my adjustments, my X and O's, my defensive things. That's really what bothered me. Is he's almost using the players as a scapegoat to say, oh, well, they're not trusting each other. They're not on the same page. That's why we suck. It's not because I don't have X's and O's. I don't know adjustments. My defensive schemes are crap. You know, it's like he's like he got away from himself and put it on the players. Oh, they're young. They don't know. They're still figuring it out, you know. But it's not my fault. That's what I kind of perceived it when I heard him say it. I didn't hear him say, oh, this is on me. This is my responsibility. I am the head coach. I am the leader. We have to do better. He kept saying we, but I want him to say I, as a coach, need to do better. I don't feel like he says that. And that's really what bothers me, is that, listen, if you know you got a mess, own it. He's not owning it, in my opinion. And that's really concerning. And players are going to start seeing that. If he continues to say, oh, the players don't trust each other, well, the players are going to start turning on him. And this is why I think this is the beginning of the end for him, because when you're throwing that word trust out there and saying, oh, they're not understanding it, they're not picking it up, or they're not on the same page and all this, that really falls on you, because you're the head coach. You're supposed to be the leader to get this stuff figured out. Listen, if they're not making their adjustments, if they're not trusting each other, if they're not making their assignments, get them the hell out of the game and find somebody else who can do it. You know, and that again, zero accountability. Oh, I need to be quicker on pulling players out or something like that. I mean, it's the same old song. It's the same old song and dance with him, man.
Okay,
I'm tired
I understand
of it.
that. I'd like to see Fizz take some responsibility, a little more responsibility too. You know, and kind of say, you know, this is what I'm not doing. This is what I am doing. This is what I'm not doing. Blah 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 blah. Rob the Nick. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
I'm good, man.
All right, I'm over here sitting back. Then came to a new conclusion about my Knicks.
Okay, what's that?
I want to spread.
All right, what's that?
All right, and this is a question that's proposed to you too, Sims. What does a rebuild look like? We said that we was all in for the rebuild. And it's a tough time for us right now. It's real tough. But this is what a rebuild looks like. We have interchangeable parts that's not here for long. We got to figure out what we like, who we going to keep. And we have to not get as mad. And me, myself, is responsible for that too. Not to get as mad as the team or the coaching if we're going to go through the heartache of a rebuild. We have some good players, some players not so good. We got some players that we think is going to be here, and other players we know is not going to be here. And we put all our emotions in every game. And then at the end, we get on here, but we got to understand what are we looking at. And we got to always keep that on the top part of our minds. What are we looking at? Who we going to keep? Not wins and losses, because there's another 12 teams in the league with less than 6 wins. So it's not just us. So we all a rebuilding team, and we got to look at it as that. And with that, I say, woosah, because it's hard.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Right? Let me see. How do I phrase it? Because the question before the season started is, are we rebuilding or are we trying to win? That was one of the questions based on the players that the Knicks signed. Right? Are they rebuilding or are they trying to win? Because in my mind, a rebuild, well, I mean, we're kind of in between. I could see Julius Randle, given his age, part of a rebuild. I know people look at him as a vet, but he's only 24 years old or 25 years old. Right? Maybe Elfrid Payton is part of a rebuild because of his age as well. But then you added some vets. You added the Taj Gibson, Marcus Morris. It's hard to say. Are we? Were we supposed to be? I mean, obviously we were supposed to be still rebuilding. We were supposed to be taking the next step forward in that rebuild. Let me say that, right? And that's where I think. That's why I think there's a big problem, because we were supposed to be taking the next steps forward in the rebuild, and I don't think we're seeing the next steps forward. Even though we know Marcus Morris is not going to be here long term, we get that. Most likely Wayne Ellington, maybe even Elfrid Payton, if he ever even gets back on the floor, not going to be here long term, right? And so you're right. We're trying to find pieces that fit, but on the flip side, we were supposed to be better. And right now, based on the statistics, we are worse than last season. Better talent, supposedly, but worse than last season, right? Our offense is worse than last season.
The pieces
and
don't
we
fit,
were
Sam.
terrible last year. The only place we really made any strides is in three-point shooting. We're like 8th or 9th in the league in three-point shooting. Right? So, yes, we are in the midst of a rebuild. But when you ask what the rebuild looks like, to me, when you're rebuilding, when you start to rebuild something, you start from the base, you start from the bottom, and you build up. And you see the improvement, and you see it growing and getting taller and higher. If you're building a house, you rebuilt the house, you got the base, and then you start building up. And you can see it getting, you can see the house getting to the end point. You're starting to get to the roof, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the point. You want to build up till you get to the roof. Finally, you put the roof on, the house is done.
But the foundation is still ugly, and that's where we at. We at the foundation.
But we were supposed to be taking the next step this year.
I know, but that's the beautiful thing about a rebuild. You're not so far along that you can say, okay, that piece doesn't fit. We at the part right now at the foundation that we can honestly say this piece doesn't fit. If Julius Randle doesn't fit, if Morris doesn't fit, even if Knox doesn't fit, we're still right now where we can change the piece and it won't tear down the foundation.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like we were supposed to be taking another step forward. Even, and Guillermo, you said, this ain't a house, this is the projects. Okay. At first I thought you said this is a project. This is the project. That's messed up, man. That's foul. Dang. It's like that. Oh
yeah,
boy, that's foul. You said
see,
it was a project.
and what I'm saying
but anyway,
is right now is like you say, if 3 players are traded by December 15th, and you get the draft picks, we're right back to where technically the rebuild is with the foundation. Mitch, Knox, RJ, and Dotson, Trey, or whatever that was there last year. That foundation is still there. So whatever they tried to do with these players like Portis, Morris, and Randall, you can interchange that. Even though Randall is the big ticket item, $20 million in the NBA right now is jack. You're a mid-level player with $20 million. That's not enough for the coach, for you to own the coach. His players now are going to be making on the excess of $40 million. So you're just a marginal player at $20 million. So if Randall thinks that he doesn't have the cachet to really, I'm thinking that maybe Fizdale, Perry, and Mills, they are on it. They want effort. Without effort, you get a press conference. Without effort, you're going to get a press conference. Winning and losing right now, maybe not, even though we may look at it like that. But for the money that they sign these players to, they can scratch them at the moment's notice. At the moment's notice. And that's a situation that we always wanted to be in. A rebuild looks ugly, and my daughter was telling me that. That's why I brought it to y'all. My daughter was telling me. She said, Dad, what a rebuild looks like. And I had to really think about it. But this is what it looks like.
I get that. I get that.
You
but
can
I
make
think
moves, any type of move that you want to make. Like we're in a position like Nate was saying, if we wanted to snatch D'Angelo right now, we're in a position to do it. Years ago, we wasn't.
But listen. Because it's all about what they say to us as well, right? Last year was about collecting talent, right? You had, it was talent acquisition. That's what they said. We're in talent acquisition mode. And you're still in talent acquisition mode as you're building, right? But this year, it was about trying to take a step forward so that we can make ourselves presentable. That's part of the rebuild, making yourself presentable. We have not done that. You know what I'm saying? That is part of a rebuild, making yourself presentable. At some point, I mean, I hear what you're saying. You can keep swapping players in and out until you find something that sticks. And what if you never find something that sticks? Then you're continuously in a rebuild mode. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a plan, though. You got to know why. Like, for example, what is the blueprint? That's my question. If we're in rebuilding mode, what is the blueprint? Right? What is the draft? Hold up. You said what? What's the
draft
blueprint?
is the blueprint.
The draft is the blueprint. See, I disagree. The draft is where you acquire your tools. It's where you acquire your pieces. But the blueprint is where you draw out exactly what you want. You draw out how you want your team to look, how you want your team to play. That's your blueprint.
Yes,
and then you go get the pieces.
And this is not how we want them to look.
The draft is how you find those pieces. What is the blueprint? I mean, it felt like when this regime came in that they had a blueprint, and maybe they just got the wrong tools. It felt like they said, we want young players that are going to play hard, play defense, do this, that, and the other thing. We got some young players. I will agree. We got young players, but they're not playing hard. So then maybe it's the coach that's not fitting into the blueprint, right? Because if you are building a house, not the projects, if you're building a house, you have a blueprint first. And then you have somebody who is the leader and says, okay, here's the blueprint. Now we got to put these pieces together to build this house. So here's the blueprint, and I'm going to facilitate the building of this house and making sure we follow this blueprint. And if that person, the foreman or whatever his name is, if that foreman is not doing the job correctly, you get a new foreman that can build that house correctly, that can put everybody together, that can put the right pieces together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, the question is, did we, obviously I thought we had a blueprint. I did. I'm not going to lie. I thought we had a blueprint. And hopefully we still have the blueprint. Maybe we're just not putting the right pieces into that blueprint. Because you can have a blueprint all you want, but if you buy the wrong pieces, if you buy bad wood, then it's going to fall down. You know what I'm saying? But basically, I felt like we were supposed to take another step this season. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to take a step forward. We were supposed to have had pieces that was going to help us take a step forward. And I'm not saying that we were supposed to make the playoffs or, be a contender or anything like that. But we were supposed to see where we were going, and we're not. We are worse than last season. In a season that we were supposed to be tanking. In a season that it was known that we were tanking. We are worse than last season. And we are on listen, we're about to be, in this streak right now of teams that we play, by the end of this streak of teams, we finish with Indiana in these next 5 games. We finish with Indiana. If we're 4-19, we're about a quarter of the way through the season. A quarter of the way, which means you got 3 more quarters to go. A quarter of the way with 4 wins. If you do the math, that's 16 wins. Now, will we get better as the season goes on? Maybe. But if we continue to lose like this, it can get even worse because players will stop. I mean, Fizdale's already talking about trust. Players will definitely stop trusting each other. Players will give up on the season. You'll have players even doing more, trying to go for themselves, like Marcus Morris and so on, because of the contract situations. I don't know, man. I don't know. I felt like we were supposed to be trying to take a step forward this season. You know what I'm saying? So, I get we're in a rebuild mode, but I felt like we were supposed to be trying to take a step forward this season. And I'm not sure that we took any steps forward so far. I don't see it. I do see more talent than we had last year, but I'm not sure if we took a step forward, man. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Like the channel. Hit me with a thumbs up. Give me a couple of likes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And make sure you share it. And I did put my social medias in the YouTube chat. I put Discord in there. And I really don't know how to work the Discord yet, but I'm learning. Put Discord in there. I put Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Sportscaster. I put it all in there. So make sure you go ahead and follow me on those platforms. So let's get to breaking down this game. I kept you guys waiting long enough. All right, let's break it down. The Knicks play the Philadelphia 76ers tonight at 7:30 at Madison Square Garden. Now, the last time we played Philadelphia, we had a 17-point lead. We couldn't hold it. According to Fizz, we lost trust. Guys lost trust in one another at certain points of the game. Now, we played a tough team. Obviously, listen, Philadelphia 76ers are tough. Now, they're going to be undermanned tonight. And I'm not sure who's going to take place in their starting lineup. So you're going to see question marks there. Because I'm not exactly sure who they're going to start. But this is what the lineups look like. For the Knicks, Frank Ntilikina is at point guard. R.J. Barrett's at shooting guard. Marcus Morris at small forward. Julius Randle at power forward. Taj Gibson at center. For the Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons, he's at point guard. Shooting guard, I'm not sure. Usually it's Josh Richardson, but he's going to be out with a right hamstring. It's not really a pull. It's just kind of sore or whatever. So he's out. I don't want to take any chances. Small forward is Tobias Harris, New York native. At power forward, usually it's Al Horford, but he's out getting some rest. And then Joel Embiid is your starting center. So we'll see who they decide to fill in these 2 spots. I'm not sure who it's going to be. All right, for the Knicks, Elfrid Payton is out with a right hamstring. Reggie Bullock with a neck. I'm not sure. When are we going to see Elfrid Payton back? What's going on there? You know what I'm saying? Is this a way that, Fizz, because we have that glut at the point guard spot, that he's just, seeing what he can do with Frank and Dennis Smith Jr. and then, hope. And then when Elfrid Payton comes back, one of the other guys will get hurt and have to sit out. Who knows? That's what happened in preseason. That's exactly what happened in preseason. We'll see if that happens again when the season starts. But Elfrid Payton's been out for a while with that hamstring. And I know hamstrings can be, I had a hamstring before, man. It can be very tricky. It can be really tricky. Let's look at the team comparison. The Knicks are 4-14. The Philadelphia 76ers are 12-6. The Knicks are on a 4-game losing streak. The Philadelphia 76ers are actually on a 1-game win streak and not a 4-game win streak. So let's make that change right now. They're on a 1-game win streak. They just came off of beating the Sacramento Kings, ladies and gentlemen. Right, the Knicks, they shoot 101. They score 101.8 points per game. That's like worst in the league. Worst in the league. They were better last season. At this point in the season last year, the Knicks were also 4-14, just to let you know. The Knicks give up 109.6 points per game. They shoot 42.6% from the field, 37.2% from three. They average 45.6 rebounds per game, 20.6 assists per game, and 15.4 turnovers per game. The offensive rating is 103.9. It's 29th in the league. Last year, the Knicks' offensive rating was 104. I'm going to continuously compare this team to last year. I'm going to keep doing it because we were supposed to take steps forward. We were supposed to be better and get better. So, yes, I'm going to compare it to last year. The Knicks' defensive rating this year is 111.2. That's 22nd in the league. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're on a 1-game win streak. They just beat the Sacramento Kings, as I mentioned before. They average 108.7 points per game, 104.1. They give up 104.1 points per game. They shoot 47% from the field, 35% from three. They average 47.2 rebounds per game, 26.4 assists per game, and 16.7 turnovers per game. All right. The Philadelphia 76ers, their offensive rating is 107.4. That's 18th in the league. Their defensive rating is 102.7. That's second in the league, ladies and gentlemen. So the Knicks are playing a tough defense. All right, they're playing a very tough defense. And, I don't know. For a team that only averages 101.8 points per game, playing tough defenses doesn't always work. But, hey, the last time they played Philadelphia, and their defense didn't change that much in a week. The last time they played Philadelphia, they had a 17-point lead. I'm sure Philadelphia knows that. I am sure that they know that. All right, let's take a look at some key matchups. First key matchup is Ben Simmons and Marcus Morris. Ben Simmons averages 12.7 points per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, 8.1 assists per game. He averages 2.3 steals per game. He shoots 54.4% from the field and 50% from three. Now, let's put a caveat next to that 50% from three, right? Because the last time that the Knicks played the Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons hit the first three of his career. And you knew, I'm pretty sure every single Knicks fan that's out there knew, as soon as they said, and they announced that Ben Simmons had never hit a three in his career, I am positive that every single Knicks fan said, watch he hit one tonight. And lo and behold, Ben Simmons knocks down his first career three against the New York Knicks. We all knew it was going to happen. Every single one of us. Every single one of us knew that it was going to happen. The last game versus the Knicks, Ben Simmons, he had 18 points. He was 7 for 9 from the field. He was 1 for 1 from the three-point line. He had 7 rebounds and 13 assists. Ben Simmons is obviously a key to everything that Philadelphia does. And we're going to have to find a way, in my opinion, the way that you can beat Philadelphia or compete with Philadelphia is to make Ben Simmons a scorer, not a distributor, not a facilitator. We'll talk about that later. Marcus Morris, he averages 18.6 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists, and 1 steal per game. He shoots 42% from the field and 51.5% from three. Now, the last game against Philadelphia, Marcus Morris had 22 points. He had 13 rebounds and 6 assists, but he was 8 for 21 from the field. And he went ham in that fourth quarter. He shot 38%. He was 4 for 7 from the three-point line. All right, shot 57% from the three-point line. Well, see if he can control himself a little bit better now that he's at the Garden and he's not in Philadelphia. Maybe he can control himself a little bit better when it comes down the stretch. But that's a matchup to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Marcus Morris and Ben Simmons. Next matchup to watch, of course, is Joel Embiid. He's a beast of a center. Joel Embiid versus Taj and Mitch. And yeah, I say Taj and Mitch because it's going to be a combined effort to deal with Joel Embiid. Taj Gibson played well in that first game. He did. Played well in that first game. All right, Joel Embiid is 7 foot, 280 pounds. He's not a point guard. He's a center. All right, so I'll make sure I make that change for anyone who is new to basketball. I don't want you thinking that Joel Embiid is a point guard. He's a center. Right, he averages 21.9 points per game, 12.1 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, and 1.4 blocks per game. All right, he shoots 46% from the field and 42.1% from three. Watch out because he can shoot the three. He'll knock it down. All right, Taj and Mitch combined, they average 15 points per game, 10.7 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game, and 2.1 blocks per game. And those blocks are mainly due to Mitch Robinson. All right, because Taj Gibson really only averages 0.1 block per game. Combined, they shoot 63.6% from the field and 10% from three. And Mitch Robinson, let's be real. Mitch Robinson doesn't shoot threes. That Taj Gibson is shooting 20% from three for the season. So combined is 10%. Basically, those guys are not going to be shooting threes. Okay? Now let's look at some keys to the game. Oh, as a matter of fact, let me go over and just tell you. The last game, though, Joel Embiid, the last game versus the Knicks, he had 23 points. He was 7 for 19 from the field, though. He only shot 36.8%. He was 1 for 7 from 3, 14.2%, 14.3%. I had 12 rebounds, and he had 5 assists. The Knicks did a decent job with Joel Embiid. If Mitchell Robinson stays on the floor and doesn't get his foul trouble, I believe his length can disrupt Joel Embiid. So we need Mitch to be on the floor. All right? We need him to be on the floor. Because his length can, give, I don't want to say give him fits, but it can disrupt Joel Embiid a little bit. They did it last game. All right, the last game, Mitch Robinson, he had 4 points, 2 rebounds, played 13 minutes. Taj Gibson, he played 13 minutes. He had 11 points, 4 rebounds. Taj Gibson played really well. Taj Gibson was also 1 for 1 from 3. Bobby Portis, he spent some time there. He played 23 minutes. He was able to spread Joel Embiid out the paint a little bit. He had 7 points. He was 3 for 6 from the field, 2 rebounds. So between those 3 guys, man, they're gonna spend some time against Joel Embiid, and we're gonna need them to produce on the floor. We're gonna need them to produce on the floor. All right, let's take a look at the keys to the game. All right, the first key to this matchup is to bring the same energy as in the first game. All right, the first game, obviously, the Knicks brought some energy to begin with, and they played with energy throughout the game. I do not know why this team has lapses with their energy, where they can bring it one game, then they can't bring it another game, or they can bring it for a half, then they don't bring it for a half, bring it for a quarter, don't bring it for another quarter. It befuddles me sometimes. Honestly, it befuddles me, and I don't get it. But we can't do it now. We need the Knicks to come with energy throughout this game because we need to snap this losing streak. Defend, defend, defend. The Philadelphia 76ers had 30 assists on us the last game. 30 assists. Ben Simmons had 13 of them. Like I said, don't let this guy start facilitating. I don't know how you do it. It's tough. Because he's not a good shooter from the field. And teams, he's used to teams playing back on him to try to force him to shoot, he distributes. He facilitates anyway. He's not gonna. He doesn't fall for the okie doke. You may need to try to do some things. Maybe let Frank Ntilikina play him a little bit more, not all the time. A little bit more. Try to force him to go down in the post. Now he can pass out of the post. It's not like he can't facilitate out of the post. He can, but maybe a smaller player will entice him to try to score even more. Like I said, man, the Philadelphia 76ers had 30 assists on the Knicks. The Knicks had 17 assists in the last game. And they only had 10 turnovers. The Knicks had 14 turnovers. But if we can make Ben Simmons a scorer, we play up tight on everybody else and make it where Ben Simmons has to score the basketball. You may be able, he's not going to score, I don't think he's going to score 70 or 80 or 90. So if you could try to force him to be the scorer, force him to be the leading scorer, try your best. Now you got two starters out. Try your best to really deny those guys the ball, put pressure on those guys. Then maybe you can make Ben Simmons a scorer. All right, but we got to defend, ladies and gentlemen, because these guys will move the ball. They will move the ball. They had 30 assists on us last time, and I skipped a little bit. I talked about making Ben Simmons a scorer. Like I said, you want to make Ben Simmons a scorer. We can make him a scorer. We can cut down on the assists. We can cut down on the ball movement. We got to defend these guys. Defend. From every position. Make it tough for them. Obviously, that's something that you want to say for all teams. All right, rebound the basketball. We got to make sure we rebound with these guys. Last game, we rebounded with them well. They won the rebounding battle by 2. It's 44-42. But we got to rebound with them. All right, we got to scrap and fight on the boards, rebound on the rebound, especially offensive rebounds, because we don't shoot well. We need to continue to grab offensive rebounds so that we can get second chance points. Let's make Joel Embiid work. Use the pick and roll with Mitch and Taj. It was working with Taj Gibson in the first game, at least in the first half. We've seen Mitchell Robinson be very successful in the pick and roll. Let's make it happen. Use these guys in the pick and roll. Make Joel Embiid work. And if you got Frank, if Ben Simmons is guarding, I don't know who he's going to guard. If you can use Mook Morris in the pick and roll with Taj Gibson or Mitchell Robinson, make Ben Simmons work on defense in that area as well. All right, but let's use these guys in the pick and roll. We can be successful there. Play with pace. And I'm not just talking about getting up a bunch of shots. I'm talking about the way we move the ball up the floor in transition, also the way that we move the ball in the half-court set. If we pass the ball and then hold it for 3 seconds, you let the defense reset. Then you pass it and hold it for 3 seconds, you let the defense reset. We want the ball moving. Bam, 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 somebody cuts, you hit them and they score. All right, we want to see that ball whipping and flying and moving. All right, so you can play with pace by getting up your number of shots because you're getting easy shots because you're moving the ball up the floor in transition. And then if you don't get an easy shot and you got to break down and play a half-court set, you don't want to just walk the ball up while you're letting defenses rest. You want to get the ball up the floor, make them move on defense, make them move their feet. Pace, ladies and gentlemen. Play with some pace. Those are my keys to the game. We'll see if the Knicks execute any of these keys. I don't know. But I'm hoping for the best tonight. Hoping for the best. We need a win. We need one desperately. We need one desperately, man. Because like I said, we're in the danger zone. We are in the danger zone. If we don't get a win, man, then one of these games is going to be a problem. We're in the danger zone, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call in, give me a call, 516-405-2246. I got about 10 minutes left. I want to find out from you guys. Do you think we have a chance of winning this game? Can we pull one out? Andy, I'm coming to you. I haven't seen you in a little while. Talk to Andy. And let me get Ra. There you go. Andy, I'm coming to you, my man. What's going on, Andy? How you feeling, man?
Yo, what's up, guys? Real chat.
What's up with you, man? How you feeling? You feeling good? You have a nice holiday?
No, And yeah, no, I didn't have yeah, we don't have Thanksgiving here in
Oh,
Poland.
you don't have Thanksgiving.
So,
Okay, yeah, that's right.
we're having a normal weekend. Only this Saturday we're having like a party, like I don't know how we call it, the last days, like you can party before the Christmas. So we're going out, but I'm sick. Last week I got the sinus infection, so I sound like funny, man. Sorry for that.
You're not the only
I
one,
didn't
man.
want to
Maybe I gave
join
it to
because
you through the
Guillermo's
microphone.
gonna be laughing at me now for a couple of weeks.
Maybe I gave it to you through the internet or something,
Yeah,
man. Because
I
I've
was
been
gonna
sick too.
say, man, we got the same virus probably.
Yeah, I think so, man. I see you got the little stubbles growing and everything. Look at you. He's been sick. He ain't
Yeah,
been able to
yeah,
shave or nothing. Yeah. So
yeah.
what do
I'm not a beer guy, man. I gotta work on it.
you?
But I got it silver, man, already. So
Yeah, I see it, man. Hey, that's all right. It looks good, man. Nothing wrong with the silver. All you young guys out there, you'll get it soon enough.
yeah.
So what do you think, man? Can we get a win tonight?
No, man, I'm not, like I told you, and I'm gonna repeat it to the end of the season, man. I'm not giving any W's to this team. When they get it, I'm gonna be happy with it, but I'm not saying one time they're gonna win. My friends, in Poland here are knocking on me, man. Every time the Knicks news comes on and stuff like that, they're like, "Look at this comedy, man," and they're laughing that we're gonna trade Frank. They're pissing me off with that, but what I'm gonna do. I can't fight with them, man, until we get a W versus a good team,
Exactly.
man.
That's the thing. You can't say anything. You can't. It's
Yeah,
nothing you can say,
and
man.
the worst thing, Sim, the worst thing is that one's a Chicago Bulls fan and one's a Pistons fan, man. So they're like two W's more than us, but they're still ahead, man. So
Right.
I can't tell them like we got two W's and we're at your spot, but it's still hard, man. I hope they get a W soon versus these good teams, and they're gonna other one, because I don't think we're gonna lose. Like you said, that this is gonna be a 5 game rough schedule thing. I don't think we're gonna lose all five. I think even bad teams have that one W and them some every other game. So I think we're gonna get a W, but I don't think it's gonna be at Philly.
I hope so, man. Cause I
Yeah,
hope so. You see teams
yeah, but
lose 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. It happens.
yeah, even the Spurs, man, they lost, then they won versus us, then they lost again, but I think they got a W again.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, Sim, we still didn't see this Knicks team, no matter how bad they are, we still didn't see them have that one perfect game they played. Even when we won versus the Bulls and stuff like that, we got that one two man great games. Bobby Portis played a perfect game that game, but we didn't have that full team really good game that we could say, okay, this is the team we want to see. We never had
Right.
it. The other teams versus us, they look perfect. A couple of them, they pounded us really bad, but we didn't have that one W that you can say that this is the team we want to see on a daily basis, and we got to get to it. Versus the consistency and stuff like that, we should be able to do it. But I don't see this team, building that chemistry that fast. And you know what's the worst thing? Because we were talking that we got 9 new players and stuff like that. I saw a statistic that I think it was 42% of the players in the NBA were changing teams last off season. That means every team has at least 6 or 7 players that are new.
Yeah.
So we don't have that, thing that we gotta, build chemistry up, because every team has that same problem. So we
Good
can't,
point.
point that finger at that thing.
Good
So
point. Really
and
good point.
my situation, man. My thing on the Knicks now. I think if we gonna bench Randall, maybe not bench. I don't want him to get hurt, because I'm not that. I rather the Knicks lose than pray for a injury for any player, man. But if he would get, I don't know, suspended a game, that would show the other side of the Knicks, because Fizdale makes the team rely on Randall really really much. and I think he's not ready for this at this point.
He's not ready. No, he's not ready for
So
that. He's not ready
yeah,
for that.
he's not
Fizdale
ready.
needed.
You can just see it. On the off season, the workouts, okay, he can look fine. Doing the pull ups with the chain stuff. Looking really hardcore and stuff like that. No, man, that showed already in the second, third game. I was already on. I knew how this is gonna roll. And I just when I remember the predictions, and some guys were saying we're gonna make the playoffs for a couple of wins. Man, now the 17 mark game that's gonna be fine for us.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like Fizdale. I don't know, man. With Randall, I feel like he should have brought him along a little bit more slowly instead of just thrust him in there. But it is what it is now.
Yeah, because every the word of the whole league was that this is gonna be the guy. He has to have the season. This is gonna be the guy and stuff like that. Other thing, we at the before the season of the predictions we made, we were talking about Dennis Smith really, really,
Yeah.
taking that step forward. Man, he
Yep.
took a couple of steps backwards
Yeah.
in his career with this season. So this is going to be really bad. But before we were talking about, because I logged in a little bit later. Before we were talking about the rebuild stuff, I think we are at the position that we tore down all the bad contracts and stuff like that, and we are at the bottom. Only step we can do is up. Even if it's not this season, we still got the flexibility because we can just ditch all these guys we got in the off season except Randall.
Except
So we
Randall.
still didn't screw up the situation for the couple of years. It just, it's just this season again, and
Right,
that's
that's
really
true.
not a bad thing when you think about it. So it's like we already hit rock bottom, and now it has to be, going upwards because it's no way, to go lower than this. If
Nah,
the
I agree
NBA
with
had,
you.
the delegation stuff that you would, fall off the NBA schedule and go, I don't know, play the G League stuff, maybe they wouldn't do it like tear downs like this. But
Yeah.
until you
Nah,
can, get relegated to the lower league, man, it's gonna happen like this.
yeah, I definitely agree with you. We're still in position to be able to make moves going forward.
Yeah.
I just don't know, like Rob was saying, talking about the rebuild, you keep going until you find players that are going to stick. I don't know. Did we find anyone that we want to stick? I mean, obviously the season we still got a long time to go. But did we find anyone that we want to stick? We're going to be in the
Probably
same
not,
situation
man.
next
But
summer.
it would be same, but it would also be easier if we knew what the team philosophy is going to be.
Yeah, I know.
Now, if
Right.
I know this is only the second year of his, but we still don't know. Last season, he had every set different. He didn't pay attention to stuff like he's paying this year, but he's taking the totally opposite. Like the philosophy, and I'm surprised with that. Because of that, because last year he was presenting the he was like giving praise to Timmy. I don't care about Timmy now because I never was a fan of his, but he was favoriting Knox. This year, only couple of games, Knox is gonna be in the doghouse soon because of his defense. And
Yeah.
I didn't get it why he didn't do it last year even. He put Knox in that mindset that if he does bad, he's still gonna be on the court, and that shows this season. Knox was coming into the season thinking, okay, I can, lose a ball here, lose a ball there, don't play defense like that, and I'm gonna get minutes. And this is turning around fast. And I think he would do it to Randall. It would be, a whole other thing because, and I saw many fans are already turning on Morris. I know he's a couple of times he takes a bad shot here, a bad shot there, and plays a little bit ISO. But at least he plays defense and
He
thinks
does.
about it.
And he plays
And you
hard.
know what? I don't think we even have, when he takes those bad shots down the stretch, I don't think we got a more confident guy. And even, for a fan like me, I don't think I would feel confident more, even a shooter like Ellington taking those shots. Those Ellington threes that he's even making, those are bad shots. He's coming off of those screens really fast, really tight, and pulling up, and those are not perfect shots. He's mostly
Nah,
he's falling aside and stuff like that. Those shots look suspect, man. I don't say that they're not perfect shots. I understand he has a quick trigger and he's making them, but couple of them, a game are pissing me off. I'm nervous.
Yeah,
when
he takes some. He takes some.
That's
He
why
takes some shots that I don't like. I mean, as soon as he touches the ball, that's all that's ever on his mind. When he touches the ball, it's just he's launching it. Well, let me get back to you, Andy.
Exactly, man. He's launching it.
Let me get back to you. Let me see what Mark's got to say, because I'm about to get up out of here in a minute. If Mark is okay. What's up, Mark?
What's going on, Brody?
What's up, man? How was your holiday?
What was I had some food. I just came up from a nap from early this morning from eating all that food yesterday, so I'm good.
All right. So what's up with tonight, man? We winning, we losing, what's going on? What you think? Because we gotta snap this losing streak, man. We gotta snap this losing streak.
Listen,
like
man,
I said, we're in the danger zone, man.
I want the dub, but it's too many inconsistencies at certain positions for us, man. That determines the game for us at times, man. It'd be one game, our shooting. The next game, our defense. The next game, players not playing with force. The next game, certain players don't want to play on the floor anymore.
It's always something.
It's a whole bunch of mismatch going on. So it's like, listen.
Matter of fact, when I was going over and looking at, okay, what are the keys? And it's so hard because I don't know what this team does well.
Hold on.
The Knicks,
I'm gonna say one thing
right?
you said,
I don't know what we do well. So it's hard to come up with any keys for the Knicks to win because you don't know what kind of team is going to show up night after night.
Well, if you go back and look at certain games and look back into the game, not look all 48 minutes, but if you're looking sometimes a game, the pace. I swear, when the Knicks play with pace, we just look like a better functional team. I've been harping on that since the start of this season. Play with pace, but we can't because you have some guys that walk the ball up, that don't get back on defense, that don't get the ball out of their hand quick enough to play that style. So again, that has to do with a lot of the mismatch pieces because, again, we have a lot of young guys that's willing to push the ball. But when you have other guys, which is the vets, it's not pushing the ball or running with the young guys. It's going to cause friction between the players and between that offense. But anytime, even the games when we went on the runs, some of them games we went on the runs, even that last Philly game, when we went on those runs, it was complete pace.
So what's the solution? So what's the solution?
And we was moving the ball faster.
So what's the solution?
Listen, we have a lot of players that, they would play within the offense at times, but then it starts to bog down and then they go to what they're used to doing. A la Marcus Morris, a la Randall, a la who else really does it enough? I would say those two. When them two are on the floor and they've been playing majority of the minutes, so it's those two when you pairing up with young guys because Portis, when you watch Portis, it's either he's gonna shoot it or he's gonna get into the post, and try to make a hook shot or get to the basket because he don't really hold the ball much. But when
what's the
Randall's
solution,
on the
though?
floor and it's times
right,
where we cannot score.
What's the solution?
Him and Morris.
So what's the solution?
Yes.
What is the solution?
Right.
What is the solution to the problem?
When the Knicks start to bog down, like say if we lead 10 points in the second going into the second quarter, this is what I would do. I would sit Randall. I would let Randall play the first 6 minutes. The first 6 minutes of the first quarter. Then put him on the bench. And then put in who we put in? We'll put in Portis. I need Taj to start. I will put Portis and Mitch to start the second half. Because we have to put because with Philly bench isn't that good, but they're good defensively, but they aren't good offensively. So we have to put an offensive squad in the second half. So meaning we have to put Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith is another one too who hurts the offense from time to time too because he does a lot of dribbling. He does a lot of in and out dribbling, not going nowhere. If you watch, and they don't play with our point guards. When Frank played with Force, the team looked different.
Okay. So
If we get
okay.
consistent,
So looking long term, because we're talking about pace, right? Looking long term,
yeah.
even past this game. Why
Mm-hmm.
why doesn't Fizdale split up Morris and Randall
Because you know
instead
why?
of having
You know
them
why?
playing
Because
together all the time?
Sam, you know why? Because okay, when you look throughout the game and you look at the box score, no one's hardly scoring but those two most of the time. When you really, really watch the game, so it's like that's his crutch right now. Like it's more like he leans on them. He really does. He really does because
I mean,
again, a lot of our young guys are not willing to take the shots. Are not shot makers. They'll take a shot, but they're not shot makers. So it hurts the offense. So he relies on the two guys that can decently get us a bucket from time to time.
okay, so if you have one in at one time, okay, let's say you start the game. You want to start the game with both of them, whatever, right? But then throughout the game, you split them up, and come to fourth quarter, you have whoever's playing well, right? You have in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your rotation is going to change, but instead of having two guys that bog down the offense on the floor at the same time, if you have one guy and everyone else, you know, let's say you decided you were going to start Marcus Morris at the 4. And I just seen Me say that in the chat, right? Let's say you decide you're going to put Marcus Morris at the 4. You got Taj Gibson at the 5.
Yeah.
And then you had RJ Barrett at the 3, and you had Frank at the
I think he should be at the 3. I swear to God, RJ should be at the 3.
And then you had whoever you're going to put in at the 2, Damian Dotson or someone at the 2.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and so now you got a lineup that can go fast.
Yeah.
Maybe Marcus, you got 4 players that can go fast in in transition, and then when you get to when it's time to you're in half court, Marcus Morris is probably gonna maybe the guy that ends up with the ball. I think if you split them up like that throughout the game,
scorer at times.
Yeah, I think if you split them up like that throughout the game,
and
see, right now it's always them two that they play together. Every once in a while they're split up throughout the game, but a lot of times they play together through the first 6 minutes, and then you got the subs come in, and then in the second quarter they both come in together again. They might get a couple of minutes split up from one another, but I think if they were split up more throughout the game instead of playing so many minutes together, you can get a faster pace because those two guys, they both advance the ball a lot, but neither one of them advanced the ball with any kind of pace, right? A lot, they kind of walk a fast walk or something like that up the floor. Neither one of them get the ball up with pace. Neither one of them pass the ball ahead to get the ball up the floor with pace. But if you have only one of them in the game, I think you can help increase that pace. And how many teams? The Knicks are really I don't want to say the only team, right? But when you have a team,
now there's a lot of bad teams around the league right now.
Listen what I'm about to say though. When you have a team that does not have, that's not good, you usually keep 1 or 2 starters in the game at all times. Even when you have teams that are good, they keep 1 or 2 starters in the game at all times, right? The Knicks don't do that. I mean, you'll go through 5 or 6 minutes where it's all subs on the floor, and I know there's players that deserve playing time and stuff like that, right? But you can say, all right, well, these two played for 6 minutes. Maybe I take Julius Randle out after he's played 4 minutes. And Marcus Morris, he's got 2 minutes to himself on the floor, where he's the guy on the floor. And then when he subs out, you bring Julius Randle back in, so he has some time to himself on the floor. And you mix it around like that, so they're not always playing minutes straight up together. You know what I'm saying? I think playing them two together kind of bogs down the offense.
You know what's so crazy? I look at RJ, and when I watch him throughout the games, he needs to play the 3 because he can defend. Like when I watch him, he can defend. The kid can defend. He's not what I thought. He's better than what I thought he was on defense. He needs to play. He needs to play the 3 because he's offensively challenged right now because he's not fast. He's not fast enough to play the 2 guard spot, bro. It's just not fast enough on the offensive side. So I like him at the 3 because that puts him on the wing to get open threes and such and such. But Sim, you know what what's hurting us a lot. Do you remember before the season start? Dennis Smith was the most important piece to this to what was going to make the Knicks look sort of decent. That's
Right.
just what it is, bro. Because the times when they go to Randall, he does it because it creates. Sometimes he gets the double, but the fact that our point guards do not penetrate as they should to get open shots for RJ, Marcus Morris, for them to take quick shots, it's hurt us so much, bro. Because if you look throughout the league, bro, as long as you have a point guard, the offense is gonna look it's gonna click in some type of way because that point guard is penetrating. Now when you got Frank Ntilikina, okay, when Frank comes off the pick and roll sim, he gets to the spot. But his problem is that he don't get deep into the defense or he don't take that quick shot. When he does it, it makes the team look better. I swear to God. You go back on the point guard play. Anytime the point guard play for us looks decent enough, teams is respecting us now. Teams ain't gonna respect you if our guards ain't penetrating. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna build a wall. They're gonna build a wall. If you watch how the Raptors play defense, they built a wall. It's like they almost playing a 2-3 zone, but it don't look like it. But they're almost putting one in the middle. They play a 2-3 zone. They most of the time playing 2-3 zone, and they're mostly doubling up top. So a lot of teams are staying one-on-one on us, one-on-one. But they also sending that the guy on the left side playing like line black to block off.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a point guard that can run a pick and roll successfully every time down the court to create a threat, we're going to look like how we look. Just go back and look at those games where Frank played well when he's attacking the paint, where Dennis played well. Just go back and look at that Dallas game. We just look like a better operating team. That's when the offense looked good. But until Dennis Smith understands, bro, all he has to do, because he get to a spot. He has to stop thinking. He has to keep doing. I always say this, man. When you have point guards thinking and not doing, it's going to hurt the team because it starts off with the point guard. It starts off the point guard most of the time for a basketball team. Why do you think Durant wanted to go play with Steph? Because Russell, as a point guard, Russell hurts the team's offense because he don't know how to get guys in their spots most of the time or organize a team most of the time when you watch him. His decision making it hurts the team. And we don't have great decision makers at that guard spot. So we rely on guys that can, like Randall. He's not a high IQ passer, but he can make a pass from time to time. But he's probably one of our decent passers. Other guys, they rely on a point guard to get a bucket for us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys
so tell me,
for a point guard.
So Mark, so we get a win tonight or what? I'm about to get up out of here. We get a win or not?
I'm confident we can get a win because we played Philly well. We played Philly well. And sometimes they go in and out in offense, but they defense, when they turn it up, bro, holy hell, they are a force. So we're gonna have to try to outscore them more than play to their style. We can't play to their style because we play to their style, we lose.
All right, Guillermo, I'm coming to you. I'm gonna ask you real quick, man. We get a win tonight?
Maybe. That's all I can say, man. We might come out and play, but again, we gotta be careful because the rest might give them the game. But it depends on how the players take it, man. But what he said with the whole trust thing, man. But I don't see anything good coming from it. If Taj Gibson's not playing heavy minutes, we might suffer because I just see Mitchell Robinson getting abused off of fakes and drawing fouls like he did last game. We need a lot of minutes from Taj Gibson. We're gonna need scoring from Frank plus his defense. That's the only way, man. Because you tell people they gotta be more accountable, or they gotta trust that stuff. Players might take it like, you know what? I don't care for saying it. Things might fall apart, but the Knicks have a chance. We always have a chance. The Sixers aren't the Raptors, so maybe.
All right. And Nate, real quick, man, we get a win tonight?
I think it's gonna be close, but probably not.
All right. Well, I'm getting out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to make sure you enjoy your leftovers. All right, while you're watching the game tonight. I put a bunch of links in the YouTube chat so you can follow me on different social media platforms. I'm going to put it in there once again. You can follow me on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Sportscaster. All right, so make sure you follow me on those platforms. And I will catch you tonight after the game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully you got the day off and all that good stuff. I will catch you guys tonight, man. Peace.
That's the deal.